Parents and kids, what makes the world go round more than that? Parents and their children and bringing up another generation. We don't live in the Ozzie and Harriet age anymore. We just don't. And it's difficult. Now you add to it a pandemic. How we even communicate with one another can break down. And when that happens, things tend to snowball. Parents have got to take the mantle here. They're the role model, right? The parent. Does it always happen? No, it doesn't. Are there ways to make it happen? You bet. Do we all need a helping hand? I think so, from time to time. The good doctor's here to help with that today. Our good friend, Dr. John Braccio. Dr. John B, letter B.com for the podcast and more regional psychological services of East Lansing. Good morning, sir. Happy April.
Good morning to you, Dave. Good morning to you on a beautiful day it looks like we're going to have. I think a key thing here is parents need to be modeling the respectful communication to their children, and they need to do it themselves. If they're doing this, then they can expect the children over a lifetime, and certainly during the time that they're with the parents, to learn how to effectively communicate, learn how to share feelings, learn how to present things in a way that aren't going to be demeaned, and at the end, they're not going to be demeaning parents in their views. It's kind of learning the give and take of communication. And in an age where there's so much conflict in terms of what's right, what's wrong, we have a society split where 50% think on one way and 50% the other way. It's really important we teach our children to be respectful. And that would be the same way with other persons, too. So sounds like maybe a difficult thing to do or hard to put your hands on, but it really is true. This is what we do need to do if we're going to be having respectful children, and the best way to do it is be respectful back, because parents do have a responsibility to instruct and model good behavior for their children. These are the roles of loving and caring parents. So it's a good task to have good communication. Don't have to always be right. You certainly don't always do what the children want. That's part of the parenting role also, to make good decisions for them. But it is critical that we do definitely be resourceful, be helpful, communicate, and allow people to present how they feel. These being children, we have to listen, we have to try to understand, we have to try to empathize. And these are things hard for a lot of parents to do, and you see the children then have the same problems too, because they ultimately are arguing or fighting or debating or not saying anything. So it's really not what we want if we want to have good open communication in families.
Doc, I think in an earlier generation there were times too, though, where this would be reaffirmed in what you saw around you. Not perfection, mind you, but there would be kind of a similar, I guess we could say, mindset from, one set of families to another. You can call it cookie cutter, but there was agreement on this. So you would have this positive communication reaffirmed in other places. It may be more difficult to get that now. They may see the exact opposite. That complicates it, doesn't it?
Well, I think it really does, and I do believe that if we're respectful, if we're trying to, all of us, if we're trying with our children, if we're trying to teach them to be caring and loving and willing to accept other people's positions, then that's a very important thing, and then it goes both ways. So you'll see families that don't have to agree, because if you have someone in your home who just is a contrarian, you're going to find someone who's going to be debating or arguing most things or many of the things that you're trying to say. That's okay. As a parent, you have to make final decisions, based on the age and based on circumstances, but be willing to listen, to understand. Otherwise, we're going to be just turning out more and more intolerant people. And we're in an age now where there's so many disagreements among the populace that we want to have persons that we have and represent themselves and represent us that are willing to talk, willing to debate. And when this happens, then discussions can continue, and they can go over the course of a lifetime even. So we don't want to be to the point where if someone disagrees, they just yell, they get mad, they cancel people out. We just want to be having open type of discussion. And this can be done. You'll find a lot of families where this is the hallmark of the family, where even if they don't agree on everything, in fact, they can disagree on a lot of things, but they're willing to accept there can be two ways to do something. There isn't just one way to solve a problem in many cases. So we just work on tolerance. We work on understanding. We work on empathy is a good word. So this is a goal in a home. And a lot of people will say, well, golly, how do you do that when you have an obstinate child? The point is, the child can be obstinate, but that doesn't mean that you can't work on communication, understanding, and trying to teach that there are going to be certain rules in a home, there are going to be certain rules in life, there are going to be certain rules in the workplace, there are going to be certain rules in relationships that they have. And there's nothing wrong with teaching those rules. It's part of becoming an effective, successful human being in the relationships that you have. And
do you extend those rules to, Dr. Braccio, do you extend those rules for parents to kids on their social media, maybe in their gaming channels that they do? These can be free-for-alls, okay? Do you say you need to be respectful of the other people you're engaging with online? You need to be respectful if you're on your Instagram, if you're on your particular Facebook, your TikTok, or they need to be respectful. Or is that harder than? I think this is tricky to carry that over. Do you have to draw those same lines?
I think you do. I think when we teach people and we're modeling for them, we don't want to have them being disrespectful or arguing or fighting or doing things that are bullying, call it what you will, with other people. I think common courtesy is something that needs to be represented in all aspects of our life. That doesn't mean we cannot, unwittingly, we might say something that's offensive to a person, or someone might say something to us offensively, which we have to not just immediately be blowing up. We want to find out why the person say it, what's the reason, and we also need to stay away from people that are toxic and people that really don't want communication. They want to verbally run you over, convince you you're wrong, tell you this, name call you, call it whatever you will. No, the part of life, successful life, is being around people that you can communicate with. And certainly a family is the first place you want to try to have people that aren't just competing in a negative way, that are willing to debate, willing to argue, sort things out. You often hear someone says, well, my family always said I should be an attorney since I was willing to argue, every point. So I think that could be one thing. Or someone will say, I ought to have been a psychologist because I'm always trying to problem solve, or whatever professions that you might see. Often you will hear them say, I started off this way and this is where my interests are. So I think in a good home, we interact, we share. If we have spiritual beliefs, we certainly offer this information, we bring it to our children. Ultimately, people are going to make their own decisions. That's the part of life. And if we have opened up the channels of communication and have taught people how to think and how to analyze events and situations as they come up, they're going to be far more effective in life, and we're going to have far better relationship in the future with children. Because right now, if children aren't getting good communication, or they're not having the type of what you call it interaction in home with family, they often are going to be, as they get older, they'll just go to teenagers or other people their age or even older that will be doing the modeling with them, and then there's a breakdown in family. And a lot of times in our offices, we work with children in their teens, and there's very little communication. Children really don't want to be with the parents, and they may not even be fighting or arguing necessarily. They just have kind of moved away from the communication, and the parents have really lost their ability to really influence the children that much, other than certain controls that you can have over teenagers that do need you for basic needs in life. So we really want to have a good, caring level of communication, and that really occurs by everyone respecting each other, willing to listen to each other, not always agreeing. There are going to be things you don't agree with. There are going to be things that are clearly wrong in terms of lying, cheating, in terms of...
Is there rules and parameters to disagreeing? And that's important to note.
I think so. I think there are. You know, you can still take the Ten Commandments, whether you're a Christian or not. You can do unto others, you have them do unto you, which is another, you know, a great rule to live by. And I believe if we just try to be ethical and honest and open. But yeah, if you have people that are yelling and screaming and calling you every name in the book and unwilling to debate with you and saying that lying is good and cheating is good and doing wrong is good, I mean, that's clearly where parents have to be standing in and making the comment that, no, those are inappropriate. If we see them, we call the person out, but we do it respectfully and we have discussion. But generally, you will find that people that have been raised in homes where there's been good open communication, not dictatorial communication, but willing to listen and willing to share, that these are the type of homes that produce people that are open and are willing to discuss and don't take an argument as an ending to a relationship or seeing somebody as a dummy or some bad name that might come out of your mouth for a person who just disagrees with you. It's really part of being successful in life. Part of being successful in life is clearly being able to communicate, to share, and have good relationship. It leads to good marriages. It leads to good interactions with people. And as we know, people that succeed in marriage, I might add, we had our 46th wedding anniversary yesterday, I might add.
Congratulations.
Not trying to impress you, but just trying to let you know that it takes a lot of communication, a lot of work. And of course, I praise my wife more than me in terms of that. But I do believe that we all have to be starting early. And you will see people that are tolerant, people that are empathetic, people that really care. Those are the ones that will often produce children that are the same way. There are always going to be some exceptions and difficult circumstances, but as a whole, that is the pattern of a successful home and successful interaction with children, and the producing of successful children that can come along in life, and that's what we want.
Modeling respectful communication, important for the parents to have that and lay that down very early and know that particular role and heed to it. The Good Doctor here, drjohnb.com. The podcasts are there. Regional Psychological Services. Always good to talk to you, my friend. Good thoughts today.
This is good chatting with you. Enjoy this 79-degree day. It's a nice day.
Will do. Yeah, everybody get outside and breathe it in. Take care. We're back in a moment. Morning Wake Up, 1320 WILS.